Hello guys, so in today's video we are going to be learning how to create the neon effect inside of Photoshop. So let's get straight into it without further ado. First, and we have to make sure that we have our image loaded inside of Photoshop like I have here. And please note that a darker image makes it look better with this particular effect, the neon effect. Further ado, make sure you have your dark image inside of Photoshop and then we'll get straight to it. Okay, so the first thing is what I've described. You have to have your dark image inside of Photoshop. After that, select the brush tool from the tools menu, and then let's select the brush tool from the tools menu. Choose a size that you want for your particular brush. Okay, and then also make sure that your foreground color is set to white like so. Okay, yes, I like the thickness of this particular brush. I'll reduce it a bit though. Yes, I like this thickness. So you have to make sure that you get your thickness so that you are able to get a correct effect. Okay, correct thickness makes the effect look more legit. All right, let's continue. So in here, what you are going to do next is add a new layer like so. And on that layer, we are going to be using the pen tool to draw our shape, the neon effect shape. So select the pen tool from the tools menu, and I will be drawing, let's say this shape, okay, a shape like this for my neon effect. So a very basic shape like so. Wonderful. After doing that, all you have to do is right click and then choose stroke path. So there's this option to choose the type of tool that you want. I will be choosing brush, and you should also choose brush for this particular tutorial. You can explore with the other tools that you have over there. Okay, so let's get straight into it. So select the brush tool from the drop down, and I would like to simulate pressure. Simulating pressure means that it will make it look as though it's been written with a traditional pen. You know, when you press hard, you get more ink. When you press soft, you get less ink. So let's preview it inside of Adobe Photoshop. And this is the effect I have. So you see from the start, it gives me a thin width. And then in the middle, it thickens. And then at the end, it brings it back to a thin width. So this is what simulating pressure does. Let us go back and then see how the effect looks without simulating the pressure. Okay, this is how it looks. You can also opt for this option, but I will opt for the simulate pressure. Okay, for mine. Wonderful. So this is the first step of the tutorial. We'll be moving on to the next step, so follow along whilst we get straight into it. Okay, now that we have all of this set, now we are going to be adding the layer style. Okay, that is the next thing. So in the layers panel over here, click on effects at the bottom and then choose inner glow. Right, that's the effect that we want to add, inner glow. And for this, you choose the normal blend mode, and then you choose the color of the halo effect that you want, or the neon effect. Which color do you want it to be? So you select from this drop down. I will be choosing this blue color, and then make sure that under here you have edge selected, and then increase the size a bit. Okay, so we are seeing our effects coming to life, And then under quality, make sure you have half circle selected. And then let's reduce the size a bit. Wonderful. We have something to start with. The next thing you do is add an outer glow. Okay. So the outer glow makes it shine. Okay. The outer glow makes it shine outside of the shape that we created. So let's continue in the tutorial. Here, you are going to be increasing the size just a little bit. So let's change the color first. So let's change the color first to the blue effect that I was using. So yes, something like this. Increase the opacity a bit and then the size as well, right? So you can now see the halo effect around it, right? Wonderful. You can choose to add more glue around it, right? You can choose to add more glue around it by adding a drop shadow effect. So I'm going to be showing you how to do that as well, so that you have a variety of options to choose from when you are creating your neon effect. Okay, so let's get straight into it. So let's click on drop shadow. And in this case, we don't want to use multiply, but we want to use linear dodge add, right? And then we change the color to our blue color that we are using, something like this. It's too much for me, so I'll decrease the size a bit, like so. So let me decrease the size a bit and then change the location of this shadow to much here, right? Wonderful. So this is with the drop shadow, without the drop shadow, and then with the drop shadow. So let me actually reduce the size of my outer glow as well, and then the opacity here as well. And then I'll reduce the size of my inner glow just a little bit, like so. Wonderful. Yes. So after applying inner glow, outer glow, and then drop shadow, we are good to go. Click on OK. And then the next thing we are left with is to max it out at the right places. So let's get straight into it to max skin. First thing is to select layer 1, our object, and choose the object selection tool from the tools menu, and then select subject, right? Want to select the subject inside of Photoshop. So selecting the subject, selecting the subject allows us to max it out in the correct order. Okay, so you want to max it out so that it looks engulfed inside of this neon effect. So let's get back into it for us to see how it works. And you undo. All right. So click on it to select the subject. Now with our subject selected, what you are going to be doing right now is selecting the layer 2 and then clicking on create mask. But it's maxed out wrongly. So what we have to do is invert the mask by using Ctrl I to invert the mask. Now the mask has been done, but it's still wrong. So with the mask layer selected, select the brush tool from the tools menu. Make sure that foreground color is set to white, and then brush over the areas that we want to keep. In my case, I'm brushing over this area over here, right? I'll increase the brush size a bit, and then voila, we are done. But this is not all, right? We want it to look more pleasing and aesthetically pleasing. So what we do is we'll unlink the layer mask and then the object mask, right? The object as well. So we'll click in the link button to unlink them, and then we'll make a duplicate of this like so, and then move it down. So let's move it up first so that we can. Wonderful. And then we'll reduce the opacity of this one, right? We'll create another duplicate like so, move it up a bit, and then increase the opacity a bit. And there you have it. Voila, you have your effect over here right now. Okay, now all you have to do is export it. So let's see the final results, right? So this is the final results of it. The final touch that we want to add is to add a hue and saturation adjustments layer. So let's go to hue and saturation, click on colorize, increase the saturation to its maximum, and then adjust the hue so that it matches the neon color that we have over there. This one is looking good. Wonderful. After that, yes. Now that we have hue and saturation, we want to add, you see this is a neon light and it should be shining some light on the floor here. So let's add a new layer. Then with the brush tool selected and the foreground color white selected, let us reduce the opacity to somewhere around 30%, and then brush right here like so. Let us reduce the hardness to 0 and then brush here like so. Right, let's brush on the container as well to give it that glow effect like so. Now we'll make some edits by changing the mode to clear so that we can make it look a bit balanced and more natural. Okay, yes, so this is looking good. So we have before and then after, right? And guys, this is how you create a neon effect inside of Photoshop. Let me know in the comment section if you have any questions, challenges. I'm going to be helping you out. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.